Hey guys, how's it going? So I thought I'd give my thoughts on the Dereck Chisora versus Kubrat Pulev rematch that's happening this week. This is going to be an unbiased prediction, so you don't have to worry about any bias here. I'm not going to fanboy over either fighter or anything like that. So, yeah, this is going to be an unbiased prediction and just overall my honest opinion on who I think is going to win this fight. So, obviously, this is a rematch to a fight that happened in 2016. The, I guess, narrative or consensus of that first fight was that, it was a fairly close fight. It went to a split decision, and Pulev ultimately got the decision at the end of the day. In my opinion, after scoring it, I thought the fight was a draw. That's just my opinion, because I think, I'm not mad that they gave it to Pulev because Pulev did. I don't want to say rock. I don't want to say he rocked Chisora, but he definitely backed him up with some good shots and got him at the ropes on points and frustrated Chisora. It was kind of similar to when Canelo fought Bivol recently, and Bivol. I don't know. I don't think he hurt Canelo, but you could tell that he was frustrating him in that fight, and I think it was the same thing in this case. I think Chisora didn't really, know what to do at moments when he was backed up. He answered well with some good right hands, which I'll get into later. Um, but still, at the end of the day, I still think it was a draw. And the way I scored the fight, I gave the first 2 rounds to Chisora because Pulev wasn't really doing anything, and I think he was using those rounds to sort of figure out Chisora. And then from rounds 3 to 8, I had Pulev winning all those rounds. And then every round after that, I gave to Chisora, mainly because it seemed like Pulev was, I don't know if he was slowing down or if Chisora was bringing up the intensity, but I think that, it was sort of like Pulev, I don't know, he wasn't as, he wasn't setting the pace from those rounds onward like Chisora was. So, yeah, that being said, it's a 6-6 round fight, so I had it a draw. But like I said, I'm not, pissed off that they gave it to Pulev or whatever. It's not a robbery. It was a very close fight. Could have gone to either guy. Now, in terms of this rematch, or in terms of both guys after that fight, they've obviously, a lot's happened. Pulev recently in 2020 fought for, the world titles against Anthony Joshua in, a lopsided beating, but I mean, that was his only loss in a couple years since he fought Vladimir Klitschko back in 2014, I think it was. And then after that, he fought Frank Mir, and that was like, we all knew how that fight was gonna play out. Where he completely just, what do you call it? Hits and knocks, or not knocks out, but just rocks Frank Mir badly in that first round. And then after that, he fought Jerry Forrest, and I mean, it was impressive considering Pulev's age. This guy's like 41 or something, but I don't know. I didn't think it was anything dominant because Jerry Forrest, I mean, he's had like in his last fight, or I don't know his last fight, but against Zhang Zeli, or Zheli Zhang, excuse me. I mean, I think Zheli Zhang hurt Jerry Forrest more than Pulev hurt him because, in that fight, he got dropped 3 times in the early rounds, and then obviously Jerry Forrest came back, but that was mainly because, Zheli Zhang was like tiring out and he was just getting countered and caught, and that's ultimately why it led to a draw. But, I mean, obviously the Pulev fight was more, there was a clear winner in that fight, but I'm just saying, I don't think he really hurt Jerry Forrest significantly in that fight, So, but I mean, regardless, it was a good win, or it was a decent win anyway. It's, Jerry Forrest, I don't think is this super high level fighter or anything, but um, I guess, but in terms of Chisora though, Dereck Chisora, obviously, he had his fights with Dylan White. The first fight, I thought Chisora clearly won. I didn't think White won that first fight. I thought Chisora was rocking Dylan White, especially in that last round. And, the second fight, that was a fight that was really close leading up to the knockout. And, he was able to give Dylan White 2 tough fights. And then after that, he fought Sanad Gashi, which was a unanimous decision, I think. Then he fought Artur Spilka, which, I mean, I don't know. Spilka was kind of done after the Wilder fight, you know what I mean, in terms of his career, right? I mean, he was a good fighter, but I mean, or he was a decent fighter anyway. He wasn't anything high level, right? But I mean, for his level, I mean, he was decent, right? But I mean, after the Wilder fight, he just didn't have anything left in him, I don't think, against someone like Chisora. And then after that, I think Chisora fought David Price, where he knocked Price out within like 4 rounds or something, which was kind of predictable considering Price isn't, he's kind of, he's known for beating, like Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury in the amateurs. I think I could be wrong on that, but I think, because I don't really pay attention to, their amateurs career, but or fighters' amateur careers. But from what I've heard, that's what happened is David Price was able to beat AJ and Fury back then. But I think that was also back when, if that's the case, that's probably because of the fact that Price had a lot more experience than those guys. And, you know, we saw when he fought Povetkin, he got knocked out by Povetkin and he got knocked out by other guys in the division. So, yeah, so I don't know. His wins aren't really against like super high level opposition. Those guys aren't top 10 guys and they're not even top 15 guys in my opinion. He fought Usyk, which I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I didn't score that fight. You know what I mean? While watching it live, I wasn't scoring it. I think if anything, Chisora maybe won the first few rounds, but I think after that it was, clear that Usyk won that fight. And listen, I don't want to hear any of this talk that Chisora gave Usyk a tougher fight than Joshua, right? I don't look at Usyk's face after the Chisora fight and look at Usyk's face after the Joshua fight and compare. All right, that's all I'm gonna say, But anyway, regardless, I mean, he won the 12 rounds with Usyk, and that was that. He lost against Joseph Parker in his next fight after that. A lot of people thought Chisora was robbed in that fight. I don't think so. I thought Parker won. He scored a knockdown in that fight, which was impressive, considering Parker has a good chin, but it was a shot that was behind the ear and all that, right? And, Parker was sort of like swerving, that way towards, where Chisora was throwing his shot, right? So there was that as well. But ultimately I thought Parker won 115 to 112. Or something like that. I can't remember the exact scorecard. It was it was a good fight. That was a good fight. The rematch was a clear Parker win. Parker rocked him multiple times and knocked him down multiple times. So there was that as well. So obviously both guys have had, a lot of fights since then, is basically what I'm saying. In terms of who I think's been looking more impressive, I think Chisora has shown that he's letting his hands go a lot more, while Pulev is on the older side, and he's shown to have his chin is holding up still though, because I mean you see when he fought Anthony Joshua, he was taking so many uppercuts and shots from Anthony Joshua, right? And he was getting up from multiple knockdowns, so it was pretty impressive by Pulev how his chin held up to Joshua's punches, especially his uppercut, considering Joshua has the hardest uppercut in the division right now. So that's impressive. But yeah, I think, in terms of like who's improved in terms of their skill, I think Chisora is, I don't know if he's like a more skilled fighter now, but he's definitely, being more aggressive and being more intense than he was when he fought guys like Vitaly Klitschko, Tyson Fury twice, and now Pulev as well, right? So, that's sort of my analysis on those guys. Now let's talk about who I think is going to win. So, I can see this fight going, I do see this fight going the distance. I don't think either guy's going to knock the other out, because people say, oh, but what, Chisora might be able to knock Pulev out considering Joshua knocked him out. Yeah, but Joshua's a much harder puncher than Dereck Chisora. You know what I mean? And, it's shown in multiple fights. When you compare like their opposition. I mean, Joshua was able to, for example, I mean, like I said, he was able to knock out Pulev, and Chisora wasn't. even able to, I don't think he really rocked Pulev in their fight, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. I just think, and same thing with the Dillian White fight. Dereck Chisora didn't really knock down Dillian White, even if he did rock him. But Anthony Joshua was able to not only knock him down, but knock him out. So, yeah, in terms of, I don't know. I just think Anthony Joshua is a much harder puncher than Chisora and all that. So, I'm not saying that he couldn't get away with it. He certainly could, maybe. But it's kind of difficult to see that happening. Although Pulev's older now, so who knows. Kubrat Pulev, on the other hand, I don't think he's that hard of a puncher, in all honesty. I think he's got a good jab, he's got good straight punches, and he's a good boxer, I would say, but I don't think that he has the knockout power to put away Chisora. If he didn't do it in their last fight, I don't think he's going to do it this time around. And people say, oh, but Parker was able to, drop Chisora multiple times. Yeah, but I think Parker, for one, is a better boxer than Pulev, and two, I think he's a harder puncher than Pulev as well. So that's another thing. And yeah, so ultimately, I don't really see a knockout happening in this fight, and that's just how I see it. I think it's going to be a bit similar to the first fight, but I think we should have a clear winner, and I'll get into that now. So in terms of my prediction, I'm going Chisora. I'm picking the underdog. I'm going Del Boy on this one, honestly, because I think that, the first fight was really close, like I said, and I just think he's improved more since that fight, and ultimately I think he's going to get the win. Plus, Pulev's on the older side now, and against Jerry Forrest, like I said, he looked good against Jerry Forrest, but, Jerry Forrest I don't think is a top 15 fighter. And Chisora, I would say, is a top 15 fighter as of now, you know what I mean, like in this era. So, that being said, I'm going Chisora by unanimous decision at the end of the day, whether it's a unanimous or split or whatever. Or it could even be a draw. Who knows? Pulev, I think if Chisora makes the same mistake like last time and he just, he's too complacent and everything, then this is probably Pulev's fight to win, but I don't know. I think the underdog's going to win this one. I really do. I just think he's, if he was able to give Parker a tough fight, and because Parker's a really underrated fighter. I think he's the most underrated heavyweight in the division today. To be honest with you, aside from maybe Anthony Joshua, people are saying is like, oh, he's a bum, he's this and everything now. So I don't know. Those two are pretty underrated heavyweights, but yeah, I don't know. I just definitely don't see Pulev knocking out Chisora or anything like that. He could frustrate him at points, but like I said, I just think that, Chisora is going to bring the heat, and I think he's going to overwhelm Pulev at times, but yeah, we'll see. One thing I noticed in that first fight, though, is that Chisora kept getting hit with the uppercut a lot, which Pulev was landing, and a few straight punches as well, which I don't know, if he could land it again, but even that I don't think is gonna, knock Chisora out. I don't think that he's gonna put Chisora out with that shot, because it doesn't have the same power as someone like Anthony Joshua, right? Look, let's just be honest. If AJ fought Chisora, I think AJ knocks out Chisora. You know what I mean? AJ would completely destroy Chisora if they fought, right? And I don't care about this narrative that was like, oh, but Chisora sparred Anthony Joshua in Saudi Arabia and he knocked him down. Like, I don't believe that, all right? If that's the case, then why hasn't Chisora said anything about it? You know what I mean? There's no proof that happened or anything like that. It was just some website that said that happened, and that's all it is. So, yeah, but anyway, that being said, this video is going on a bit too long. My final prediction is Dereck Chisora. I think he's going to get the decision. I think it could be another close fight, and, if Chisora doesn't let his hands go, it might go the same way as the first time, with Pulev winning. Or it could go to a draw. I don't know, but I just definitely don't see a knockout happening in this fight, but yeah, it should be a decent fight. I'm looking forward to it, and that's that. So, that being said, hope you guys have a good day. Let me know who you got in the comments below, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Take care and peace.